Okay, listener, so buckle up because this week in crypto, it's been a wild ride. We're talking Bitcoin skyrocketing,
Yeah.
like a 10% gain, almost like it's got some secret October fuel.
Right.
But here's the thing. Most altcoins, they're stuck on the sidelines,
Yeah.
except for Doge. Doge decided to have a party this week.
It did.
A 23% jump got everyone wondering if the meme magic is back.
Mm.
So is this Bitcoin's moment, or are we in for another crypto roller coaster plunge?
Well,
And what's with Doge's sudden surge? We're diving into all of that and more right now.
you're spot on about Bitcoin's October energy. It's interesting how mid-October often sees Bitcoin really make a move. But what's got my attention this time is all that money flooding into those Bitcoin ETFs we've been hearing so much about.
Yeah.
Just this week, BlackRock's ETF raked in over $1 billion.
Whoa, $1 billion with a B. That's serious cash, even for those crypto whales.
It is.
What's driving this? Is this like mainstream adoption finally happening?
That's the billion-dollar question. This level of institutional interest, it really suggests something's shifting.
Yeah.
It's not just regular investors anymore. These are the big players making big moves, which to me signals confidence in Bitcoin's future.
So potentially a less bumpy ride for Bitcoin compared to, the usual crypto craziness.
Possibly.
Okay, let's talk Doge. A 23% jump, it feels almost nostalgic.
Right,
Like
yeah.
back to when a single tweet could launch it into orbit. What's behind this blast from the past?
You have to acknowledge the influence of, certain high-profile figures.
Yeah.
Their recent shout-outs at those campaign events definitely played a role. However, I think the market is more aware now than it used to be. Those shout-outs, they don't have the same power they once did.
So this Doge hype might be short-lived. Are you saying investors are wising up, not just blindly following the hype train anymore?
Exactly. Remember when one tweet could make Doge's price swing
Yeah.
like 100%?
Oh, yeah.
While those days might not be totally gone, we're seeing a move towards more, strategic investing. The market's becoming more resilient, focusing on what really matters.
Fundamentals.
Right, fundamentals. It doesn't mean Doge can't surge, but those surges might be quicker, less dramatic.
That's good to hear. Suggests a maturing market. Good for everyone.
Right.
But speaking of outside influences, crypto's found itself on a very interesting stage, the U.S. election.
Oh, yeah.
17 days to go, even crypto can't escape the political spotlight. We even had a candidate who's always been anti-crypto, seemingly softening their stance.
It's definitely turning heads. This candidate, they've built their platform opposing almost everything crypto stands for. So to see them even acknowledge it, let alone hint at a policy shift, very telling.
It's like a political thriller plot twist. Are they having a change of heart, or is this just strategy to get more votes?
It's hard to know for sure. The timing is definitely suspicious. Crypto's becoming more mainstream.
For sure.
Even those who dismissed it before are noticing its influence. This candidate might be seeing which way the wind is blowing, realizing being anti-crypto could alienate voters.
Trying to stay relevant, not seem out of touch.
Exactly. Is it genuine or just a move to get votes? Only time will tell. But it's fascinating to see crypto forcing its way into politics.
Yeah, it's a story worth following. But speaking of big moves, did you see that massive Bitcoin transaction this week? A whale moving $760 million worth of Bitcoin.
I did. And what makes it even more interesting is they didn't move it to an exchange.
Which has everyone speculating like crazy. If they're not selling, then what's the play?
Right. That's the million-dollar question. Some think it's diversification, maybe moving it into safer offline storage.
Makes sense.
Others believe it signals they're going to use that Bitcoin for something else entirely, maybe part of a larger financial plan.
It's a crypto mystery. But honestly, the most telling thing is the market's reaction. Or lack thereof. Remember when a whale move like that would send shockwaves through the entire crypto world?
Oh, absolutely. The fact that the market didn't freak out suggests a new level of, maturity. Investors aren't as reactive, not panic selling over one transaction, even a big one.
So good sign for Bitcoin's stability then.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
That, plus all the institutional money pouring in, it points towards more confidence in Bitcoin's future. Doesn't mean we won't see volatility,
Right.
but it does suggest a move towards a more stable market.
Which leads us to a cautionary tale for all those still chasing those get-rich-quick crypto dreams. Let's talk about that token launch that totally flopped this week.
Oh, yes.
They were aiming for a $1.5 billion valuation.
Ambitious.
Ended up with, well, let's just say it wasn't pretty.
A classic example of ambition meeting reality.
Right.
This project, it did everything wrong.
Like what?
The website crashed, they limited participation, excluded a lot of potential investors, and they relied on outdated tactics, like something out of the 2017 ICO craze.
Ouch. Reality bites. What's the lesson here for our listeners?
Simple. Crypto is evolving fast. What worked yesterday might not work today. Investors are smarter now. They want more than just hype.
Right.
This project failing, it shows you need to innovate, adapt, really understand how the market's changing.
Otherwise?
Disaster, no matter how big your dreams are.
Harsh, but true. And it seems like those lessons are even more important as crypto gets more and more political.
Definitely.
Speaking of which, let's talk about that candidate trying to win over the crypto crowd by promising, well, a whole regulatory framework for crypto. Sounds promising, right?
On the surface, maybe. But the way they're framing it raises some red flags.
Oh. How so?
Well, they're tying crypto regulations specifically to protecting a certain demographic group. It feels, I don't know, almost manipulative. Like they're using a specific group of people as a reason to control crypto instead of addressing the bigger picture.
So less about genuine concern, more about using social issues as political leverage.
Precisely. It reminds us that not everything is as it seems, especially in an election year. You have to look beyond the surface.
Good advice. Now, before we move on to the wild world of biometric doorbell tech, let's take a quick pause.
You know, this whole thing about politicians trying to leverage crypto for votes, it just shows you how important crypto has become. It's not just about the tech anymore.
Yeah, it's like crypto's breaking out of the digital world and bumping into like the real world, real politics, whether we're ready or not.
Exactly. And that just adds a whole other layer of, well, complexity. Politicians, they're trying to figure out how to regulate this new thing, how to balance innovation and protecting people, and even just how to talk about crypto in a way that, makes sense to people.
It's almost like we need like Crypto 101 for politicians,
Right.
a crash course to help them navigate this whole new world.
A crypto for policymakers handbook, maybe?
Mhm.
We could just leave it on their desks.
Maybe we should, but seriously, it feels like we're at this turning point.
Yeah.
These choices made in the next few years could really shape crypto for decades.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, prices going up anymore. It's about really understanding how this tech can change things, how it can challenge the way things are done. That's what makes it so interesting, but also, a bit daunting.
High stakes, for sure. Speaking of high stakes, let's switch gears a bit. What about DAOs? Decentralized autonomous organizations, remember those? Felt like they were going to revolutionize everything, then kind of fizzled out.
DAOs, they're like the internet's version of traditional organizations.
Right.
And they're a perfect example of how hype can build up and then fade.
So what happened? Why haven't DAOs taken over the world?
Well, for one, building a DAO is really complex.
Yeah.
You need technical skills, clear rules for how decisions are made, and most importantly, you need people to actually participate, to be engaged. A lot of early DAOs just couldn't quite get it right.
It's like that classic problem technology meets human nature.
Right.
You can build the most advanced system in the world,
Mm.
but if the people using it aren't on board, it's not going to work.
DAOs are supposed to, eliminate human bias, but they're still made up of humans. And humans, we disagree, we have power struggles. It's complicated.
So are DAOs finished? Or is there still potential?
Even with those early hiccups, the idea behind DAOs is still really powerful. This idea of organizations that are decentralized, owned by the community. Very appealing, especially now when people are losing trust in those big centralized institutions.
So too early to give up on them completely.
Absolutely. Actually, we're seeing DAOs getting more attention again. Part of it is because the tech is getting better, governance models are improving, and more people are realizing the limits of how we do things now.
Sounds like DAOs are evolving, getting stronger, and maybe more resilient.
That's a good way to put it. We're seeing more experimentation with different ways to make decisions, more focus on community, and people are finding new and interesting ways to use them.
So something to keep an eye on. It seems like DAOs, they might not have taken over the world overnight, but they're finding their place.
Agreed. Now, let's move from organizing to experiencing. Let's talk about the metaverse.
Oh, yeah.
It's an idea that's been around in sci-fi forever, but crypto, especially blockchain, has really made it feel, more real.
Totally. Suddenly, everyone's talking about building the metaverse,
Yeah.
buying virtual real estate, wearing digital clothes. It's crazy.
It is a bit of a Wild West out there.
Yeah.
But there's real excitement about what these immersive, interconnected digital spaces could be.
For sure.
They could change how we work, play, socialize, even govern ourselves.
You know, even I got caught up in it. Remember I bought that virtual plot of land? Still waiting for the value to, go to the moon.
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a metaverse. But you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
This idea of owning things digitally, virtual land, in-game items, even art.
NFTs?
Right, NFTs. It's really taken off, and it's all thanks to blockchain.
Yeah, it's like NFTs were the gateway drug to the metaverse for a lot of us.
I think so.
Suddenly, everyone's an art collector.
Or at least pretending to be on Twitter.
Exactly. But seriously, NFTs showed everyone what blockchain can do, prove ownership in the digital world, make things scarce.
And that's a game changer for the metaverse.
So are we talking about a future where we're not just watching digital stuff, but actually owning it, controlling it?
Exactly. Imagine a world where you can take your digital identity, your things, your creations, and move them between these different virtual worlds, all safe and verified by the blockchain. That's the promise of the metaverse.
It's a lot to wrap your head around,
Right.
but like with anything crypto, I'm sure there are challenges, right? I mean, those VR headsets, they're big, uncomfortable, I get a headache after 5 minutes. We're not ready to upload our brains yet.
You're not wrong. The tech definitely has a way to go
Yeah.
before we're all living in virtual reality.
Right.
But the speed of progress is incredible.
Right.
We're already seeing VR, AR, all these immersive technologies getting so much better.
So buckle up, because the metaverse is coming, whether we're ready or not. Okay, listener, so we were talking about that company, the one delivering those eyeball-scanning doorbells, right? Turns out they're not the only ones really into this whole biometrics and blockchain thing.
Yeah.
This week, tons of projects popped up focused on decentralized identity, and a lot of them involve, you guessed it, our biometric data.
It's like that line between science fiction and, well, real life is getting blurry.
Tell me about it.
It makes sense why people are interested in this decentralized identity idea. I mean, our digital identities are everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
Spread out over all these different platforms, and they're vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
So this idea of taking back control, it's appealing.
Okay, I get that, but are we really going to go from trusting, Facebook with our data to trusting the blockchain? How does that even work?
Think of it this way. Instead of having your info scattered all over the place, you keep it yourself in a secure digital wallet. You decide what you share, with who, and what for.
So like a digital passport, but I'm in control, not some big tech company.
Exactly. And it's not just about security. Imagine using this verified digital ID to access anything, prove your age, join online communities, all without giving up your privacy.
That's a game changer. But let's be real, there have to be some downsides.
Of course. Creating a truly secure and decentralized system, that's a huge challenge. There are technical difficulties, privacy concerns. We have to think about unintended consequences.
Like what?
How do we make sure everyone has access? What if someone loses their digital key? These are all things developers are working on.
It's complicated, that's for sure, but the potential is huge.
Definitely.
Okay, let's jump back into the world of decentralized finance for a sec.
DeFi.
Right,
Yeah.
DeFi. What's got everyone talking this week?
One of the most exciting things is the rise of what they're calling cross-chain interoperability solutions. Remember how it used to be all these blockchain platforms were like separate islands?
Yeah, each with their own little thing going on.
Right. And trying to, I don't know, send something between them was a nightmare.
Like sending a message in a bottle, hoping it gets there.
Exactly. But now we're seeing these bridges, these protocols popping up that let different blockchains actually communicate, transfer assets smoothly.
So no more blockchain islands. We're building bridges instead.
Exactly. And this is massive for DeFi. It opens up so many possibilities for, well, more complex and interesting financial applications.
Like what?
Imagine moving your assets between different blockchains, no problem.
Mm.
Or using DeFi protocols across multiple chains without jumping through hoops.
That's pretty wild.
It's about combining the strengths of different blockchains.
But more complexity usually means more things can go wrong.
True,
Okay.
true. Cross-chain interoperability, it brings new challenges. Security is paramount. But the potential benefits are too big to ignore. Developers are laser-focused on security, making these bridges reliable. It's always evolving.
It's a high-stakes game for sure. But hey, that's crypto, right? Speaking of exciting stuff, let's finish up with blockchain gaming. It's not just those old-school pixelated games anymore.
Not at all.
Blockchain gaming has just exploded, right?
It has.
What's driving it?
I think it's the potential for real digital ownership, new ways to earn while playing, and of course those immersive metaverse experiences we talked about.
Totally. Remember when blockchain gaming was all like clunky graphics looking like something from the 90s? Now we're talking high-quality games, amazing visuals, fun to play, and you can actually earn something.
It's not just about the games themselves either.
Right.
Blockchain is changing how games are made, how they're funded, how players interact, everything.
It's giving power back to the players, both creatively and in terms of like actual money.
Exactly.
So is this the future of gaming?
I'd say it's a big part of it. Imagine owning your in-game stuff, moving it between different games, having a say in how the game develops. Pretty cool, right?
It's a future I can get behind, that's for sure. But on that note, listener, it's time for us to log off for a bit, recharge those brain cells.
Yeah, take a break.
This week's been a wild ride in the crypto world, from Bitcoin's climb to, well, everything we just talked about, decentralized identity, DeFi, blockchain gaming.
We covered a lot.
We did. But as always, it's been fascinating to unpack it all with you.
Likewise.
And listener, remember, the crypto world never sleeps. So stay curious and join us next time for another deep dive into all things blockchain and beyond.
See you then.
Stay bullish.